Time in range. That's the number everybody's talking about these days, thanks to CGM technology. Time in range is the percentage of the day that your blood sugar is in your target range. My time in range can vary anywhere from about 70 to 90%. But most of the time I'm in the 80s. And I'm not living some really rigid, strict diet. I eat dessert every day. Here are 7 things that help me reach my time in range goals. Number 1, I exercise every single day. Exercise has such a big impact on your insulin sensitivity. The more sensitive to insulin that you are, the less insulin you need to keep your blood sugars down in your target range. The less insulin you need, the easier it is to manage your blood sugars. Managing blood sugars with insulin is never actually easy, but it is easier if you need less insulin to do the job. By exercising every single day, I'm helping my body burn up a lot of that glucose. I need insulin on board to help make use of it, but I need less. Exercising every single day should be a prescription for everybody, let alone people with any type of diabetes. If you live with insulin resistance, if you're struggling with high blood sugars, simply adding a 30-minute walk to your daily routine will help bring your blood sugars down into range. It will help increase your sensitivity to insulin. It will decrease your insulin needs. It will help you reach your blood sugar goals. We really underestimate just how much of an impact regular walking can have on your insulin needs. But you've got to stick with it. It's got to be every day. Showing up for that walk twice a week isn't enough. It's gotta be every day. I know we're supposed to say, no, do what you can. I'm saying do it every single day. Make it a huge priority in your life. Making exercise a huge priority and passion in my life reduced my overall insulin needs by 66% between the time I was 20 years old and today at 38 years old. And I don't do a crazy amount of exercise. I walk my dog every morning and every afternoon for a total of about 5 miles. And then every day I either jog 3 miles or I jump rope about 30 minutes, and then I add in some light weights. Nothing crazy. Get up and get moving. Number 2, I limit my caffeine. I'm really careful with how much caffeine I consume every single day. When I learned that caffeine actually tells my liver to release extra glucose, I started cutting my caffeine back. I don't drink more than 1 cup of caffeine a day. Caffeine tells your liver to release extra glucose. That extra glucose is gonna raise your blood sugar, and that means you're gonna need more insulin. That means you're gonna be more insulin resistant. The more caffeine you drink, the more sugar your liver is producing. If you're drinking caffeine all day long, guess what? Now you're basically drinking a cup of sugar all day long. You drink caffeine, it tells your liver to release glucose. You're gonna need insulin for that glucose. Whether it came from a sugary beverage or the sugar in your liver, it's still more sugar. By limiting how much caffeine I drink, I keep my insulin doses lower, I keep my blood sugars lower. If I was drinking coffee all throughout the day or throw in Diet Cokes or Red Bull, it doesn't matter if they're sugar-free. It's still caffeine telling my liver to release more sugar. Number 3, I take metformin. Metformin is actually a drug for type 2 diabetes. It's one of the oldest diabetes medications on the planet and one of the most prescribed medications on the planet. Metformin works by telling your liver to make less sugar, less glucose. People with diabetes, type 1 and type 2, have what's called leaky liver. We overproduce sugar. Now, I used to be very proud of the fact that the only medication I was on every day was insulin as a type 1. Because, you know, they go through that list of medications at the doctor's office. Are you on statins, blood pressure meds? I say no, and I was so proud of myself for only being on insulin. But you know what? People with type 1 and type 2 diabetes overproduce sugar. So if there's a medication I can take that we already know is really safe, and in fact, some research from Harvard refers to this as the fountain of youth. Metformin has been shown to reduce your risk of certain cancers and Alzheimer's. Why not let it help me? How about I get rid of this whole ego thing about I don't need any other medications and let this medication help me? And it has. Metformin is also kind of a carb blocker. So it actually blocks the absorption of some of the sugar from the food that you digested. Now, this can lead to some digestive side effects. Some people have no problems with metformin. Some have too much digestive side effects and they can't tolerate it. Personally, I didn't really have any changes in my digestion from metformin. It's been really helpful for me. Number 4, okay, this one's really big. I track my patterns in my blood sugar and then I make adjustments. I don't just watch my blood sugar go high every day after lunch and say, oh, this just always happens. I notice the patterns and then I say, all right, what's going on here? What can I do? How can I intervene to prevent this spike every day after lunch? For example, before taking metformin, my blood sugar would spike over 100 points as soon as I woke up in the morning. I had a few ways to go about this. First, I tried taking a bolus of insulin the moment I woke up. Sometimes that would backfire because occasionally there'd be a day where the big spike from dawn phenomenon just wouldn't happen. Then I'm adding exercise in there, total mess. Most days though, it worked. So I wasn't waiting for the spike and then correcting it. Instead, I was anticipating the spike by having established that this is something that's happening most days of the week. By anticipating it, I could take the insulin before it shot over 180 and prevent that whole spike, keeping myself in range. Another example, I've noticed that if I don't get to go for my run in the morning, I need twice as much insulin at lunch. Most days I go for my run or I jump rope 30 minutes. You've got to notice the little details. If you're constantly going high after a meal, something is not right in your insulin doses. It's either your basal or your bolus. And I hear people say, oh, no, I already adjusted this and that. Like, guess what? If you're still going high every day, all afternoon, you're still not getting enough insulin. We get really set in this mindset of like, this is how much insulin I need. But if these highs are happening all the time, your body is telling you, I need more insulin. Or if you add exercise in there or something like metformin, you could reduce your blood sugars without extra insulin, ideally, hopefully. The point is to acknowledge the data. Look at it. If your workout always makes your blood sugar spike, don't waste time trying to figure out, why is this happening? It doesn't make any sense. If the data says that this is happening all the time, do something about it. Stop getting mad about it and go fix your insulin doses so that the spike doesn't happen. I know that most days between 8 and 9 a.m., my blood sugar starts to rise. That's because I'm fasting and my liver is saying, well, you're not gonna eat breakfast? Here's some sugar. I'm gonna give you some sugar. So I could spend a lot of time getting mad about the fact that my blood sugar is rising when I didn't eat anything. Or I could just say, you know what? Clearly this is happening every day. My body needs a little bolus of insulin between 8 and 9 a.m. So every day between 8 and 9 a.m., I'm watching. I'm waiting to see that little rise begin, and then I hit it before it can get too high. I take a really small dose of rapid acting insulin, and then I prevent my blood sugar from going above range. Take the time to notice the patterns and then do something about it. Adjust your insulin doses. The doses your doctor gave you are just guesses. Your body's insulin needs change all the time. They can change for little periods of time. Maybe it's your menstrual cycle. Maybe you're ovulating. Maybe you were really stressed at work. Maybe you stopped exercising for a week, or you just started exercising again. They can also change over long periods of time. You're aging. You just hit your 40s. You're no longer in your 20s. You're a teenager. You just hit puberty. You've got all these hormones driving your insulin needs up. Don't waste time saying, why are my insulin needs going up? Why is my blood sugar high? Do something about it. Insulin doses should be adjusted. If your A1C is 8%, if your time in range is 60%, that means one thing: you're not getting enough insulin. Then you have to go do the work to figure out when and how much more insulin you need. Number 5, I changed in my head what I think of as a high blood sugar. If you think in your head that a blood sugar of 165 is a normal place to sit at all day, and it's not a number you're gonna do anything about, then guess what? You're gonna have an A1C and a time in range that reflects sitting around with a blood sugar of 165 all day. If your blood sugar is often in the 200s and you've just kind of gotten used to that being normal, your time in range is never gonna come down if you don't put in the work to take action and correct those highs, but then also prevent them. Correcting highs is not enough. You've got to figure out where you can adjust your insulin doses to prevent them from happening. But it starts by changing your mindset of what you consider to be a high blood sugar. In my 20s, before I prepared for pregnancy, a blood sugar of 150 didn't seem that high to me. That was fine. I didn't mind sitting at a 150 all day long. Today, I wouldn't want to hang out at 150 all day. Today, I know I could take a little bit bit of insulin and get that down closer to 100. That's what helps me get my A1C and my time in range down. That 150 can easily rise up to 170. I'd rather be at 100 and rise slowly up to 120. Gotta change what you consider high, what you consider okay. And everybody's different. Some people, it's not safe to spend the day at 100. If you are older, if you have hypoglycemia unawareness, aiming for 100 as your average blood sugar might not be safe, might not be a good goal for you. So you'll talk to your healthcare team and establish what makes sense for you. A teenager whose brain is really not focused on diabetes management and is not even fully formed, right? Asking a teenager to spend the day at 100 might be asking too much. It's all different. We're all different. Time in range is personal. The blood sugar I'm comfortable at all night long might not be what you feel safe and comfortable at all night long. Create time in range goals that work for you. Number 6, I use inhaled insulin for most of my meals. Okay, I gotta tell you a story really quick. I actually ran out of inhaled insulin this week and it sucked so much. I've never missed it more. I've gotten so used to using inhaled insulin for most of my meals for the last like 3 or 4 years that I forgot what it's like not to have it. So for the last 4 days, I've had to use injected rapid acting insulin for my meals. And I cannot tell you how slow that stuff is compared to inhaled insulin. Inhaled insulin starts working in about 2.5 minutes. It's noticeably affecting your blood sugar on your CGM within 15 minutes. And the smaller doses are out of your system within about an hour. The larger doses, it's more like 2 to 3 hours, but really more like an hour and a half. The paperwork says 2 to 3 hours. It's so fast. You don't have to pre-bolus. The biggest difference I'm seeing in my blood sugar without inhaled insulin is that spike when I'm eating. And I am pre-bolusing, I'm trying to, but it still doesn't seem like enough. With Afrezza, you don't have to pre-bolus at all because it's so fast. It's so easy. I can correct a high blood sugar with inhaled insulin in 1 hour. 1 hour, I could go from 250 to 100 or 300 to 100 because it's so fast. But you also don't crash at the other side. So you can correct it really fast without crashing because it clears your system so quickly compared to injected rapid acting insulin. My next shipment of inhaled insulin should actually show up this afternoon. I can't wait. I miss it so much. I'm not even kidding. They didn't pay me to say that. They've never paid me to say that. I use it because I love it and I'm telling you about it because most people don't even know it exists and it is honestly life-changing. My doctor did update the prescription, so I'm gonna be getting more, thank goodness. Number 7. And you know what? The last thing is that I don't beat myself up when things don't go well. A few weeks ago, I was in kind of a diabetes rut. So I was feeling just kind of like uninspired, I guess. I just kind of wanted to like tune it out, just do what I could. And then I got past that. You know what I didn't do though, is I didn't beat myself up during that bumpy 2-week phase. I didn't say, you suck at this, diabetes is the worst. I just kind of let myself go through it. I just said, you know what, you're in a little bit of a rut right now, a little burnt out. I let myself be a little burnt out. And then when I got tired of that, I could get re-inspired. I also updated to using the Libre 3. I was using the Libre 14 day. So that little change in my routine kind of helped me reset my thinking and change the game of type 1 a little bit. You can't beat yourself up. The moment you start telling yourself you stink at managing diabetes and you suck at this is how it's always gonna be, you're never gonna do it better, you can never get your time and range up. As soon as you start saying those things and you're just like telling yourself to stay there, getting yourself stuck there. You don't have to be perfect to see improvements. Start small. Pick little changes, little goals. Maybe it's to just drink less coffee all day. Choose one chunk of the day to focus on or one meal. I'm not perfect, I promise, but I always talk myself up. I always believe in my ability to do better. I always give myself credit for whether things are going really well and I'm working really hard on it, or for when I'm struggling. I give myself credit for how hard managing type 1 diabetes is. Give yourself credit on both sides, no matter what your blood sugar is. You can't beat yourself up. You are your coach, you are the team, you are the cheerleader, you're the everything. So you gotta bring yourself up and talk yourself through it. There's so much pressure on time and range these days, and it's a really helpful, amazing amazing thing. I lived with type 1 diabetes for like, I don't know, 15 years before time and range even existed as a concept, before CGMs were even a thing that any of us had access to. There are jets flying overhead right now. I've gotta wait till they pass. You know what I just noticed? I forgot to put my plants back on the shelf. Bummer. All right, that's enough. You know what? Give yourself some credit for how hard type 1 diabetes is. Give yourself a pat on the back and go choose one little part of the day to focus on. Thanks for watching DiabetesNerd. Find my books on Amazon.